Fever vs. Sky. All 5 states when Caitlin Clark will face off against Angel Reese in the 2025 WNBA season. Rivalries in sports create magic moments, and the Caitlin Clark-Angel Reese showdown is no exception. From high school gyms to the NCAA spotlight and now the WNBA, their fiery competition has become a defining narrative in women's basketball. Fans eagerly await their next face-off, which promises to fuel both their rivalry and the league's growing popularity. In the 2025 WNBA season, the Indiana Fever and Chicago Sky are set to clash 5 times, marking another chapter in this storied matchup. Sky will be the only team Indiana faces 5 times. That must be for a good reason. Clark and Reese's rivalry has deep roots. The times they faced each other in 2024, the viewership peaked in millions. June's game with 2.25 million on CBS was the most-watched WNBA game on any network in 23 years. Heading into the 2025, both players have a point to prove. Clark's Fever had the upper hand last year, winning 3 of their 4 matchups against Reese's Sky. But Reese remains undeterred, using every game as an opportunity to silence doubters and uplift the women's game. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese's competitive history dates back to 8th grade, when the two future stars first crossed paths in AAU tournaments. Over the years, they became synonymous with elite-level women's basketball, shining in high school and dominating in college. Reese's LSU Tigers famously defeated Clark's Iowa Hawkeyes in the 2023 NCAA Championship, a game immortalized by Reese's playful you-can't-see celebration in its final seconds. Their paths diverged in the 2024 WNBA draft, with Clark going number 1 overall to the Indiana Fever and Reese joining the Chicago Sky as the number 7 pick. Clark took home the Rookie of the Year award after a stellar season, while Reese made her presence felt on the court and in the media, becoming a vocal advocate for women's basketball. Reese reflected on their history during an appearance at a Complex Conversations event, emphasizing the longevity of their rivalry. "I've been playing against Caitlin since we were probably in 8th or 9th grade," Reese said. "We were both really competitive. I went to Maryland before transferring to LSU, she went to Iowa, and we competed there. People don't know the legacy of us being able to play against each other for a really long time." Rivalry and respect. The Clark vs. Reese dynamics. The respect between the two players is clear, even as their rivalry heats up on the court. "I don't have any hard feelings toward her, she doesn't have any hard feelings toward me," Reese said. "But yeah, it gets crazy sometimes." The Sky Five was referring to the second home called social media that their rivalry has been scrutinized by fans and commentators alike to amplify every play, quote, and celebration. While the attention has helped grow the WNBA, Reese acknowledges the darker side of the spotlight. "Obviously social media is going to put 2 women against each other," Reese said. "I think it's been something that's negative, but also positive. It shines light on women's basketball, so I'll take that being the person that gets the hate. At the end of the day, I know I'm growing women's basketball and helping women's basketball. Each game will not only test their individual brilliance, but also shape their team's fortunes in a highly competitive WNBA season." The Clark-Reese dynamic transcends basketball. It's about competition, growth, and the spotlight on women's sports. As Reese eloquently put it, "I know at the end of the day, I'm growing women's basketball and helping women's basketball." Clark, with her electrifying play and leadership, echoes that same commitment to elevating the game. Clarkonomics, dissecting the complexity of paying Caitlin Clark what she's really worth. Indianapolis. Dr. Ryan Brewer is a renowned valuation guru in the field of finance. He is an expert on estimating something or someone's worth. His professional opinion is so revered that he has been called on to testify in court as a valuation expert, including cases involving sports property. In his research, he has crunched the numbers, one way or another, for just about every major sports league. He has delved into college and youth sports too. But when Indy Star asked Brewer to put a price tag on Caitlin Clark, what she has meant financially to the WNBA, her city, and the country in her rookie season with the Indiana Fever, the numbers were so shocking that Brewer was sure he must have made some mistake. He ran the numbers again. Then again. And every single time, he got the same result. The numbers are so staggering, said Brewer, associate professor of finance at Indiana University Columbus. They don't even seem real. By Brewer's calculation, Clark is responsible for 26.5% of the WNBA's league-wide activity for the 2024 season, including attendance, merchandise sales, and television. 1 of every 6 tickets sold at a WNBA arena can be attributed to Clark. Total TV viewership due to Clark is up 300%, and 45% of total broadcast value came from Fever games. The league's merchandise sales catapulted 500%, with Clark ranking number 1, followed by the Chicago Sky's Angel Reese, another rookie. The Fever's regular season game attendance averaged more than 17,000 fans, the first time a WNBA team has drawn more than 300,000 fans in a season. Clark's regular season games were watched by 1.2 million viewers on average, which was 199% more than non-Clark WNBA games. But, perhaps the most astonishing number of all, is Clark's economic impact on the city of Indianapolis, which Brewer says is upwards of $36 million. Not as big as the NBA All-Star Game's $400 million financial boost to the city in February, but a respectable 10% of that. Now let's take a breath for a minute and think about this, said Brewer. That's for 1 year. We're talking about one player. One player who came into a league that had slowly been growing and ignited a firestorm of popularity. A player who was paid an annual salary of $76,535, a fraction of what she made for her league. A player whose male rookie counterpart Victor Wembanyama was paid $13.8 million his first season in the NBA, a whopping 184 times more than Clark. All of it begs the question, a complicated, multi-layered question that involves lessons in business, marketing, risks, rewards, and economic impact. Will Clark ever be paid by the WNBA what she's really worth to the league? Yes, it would make a ton of sense for Indianapolis to lock her up long-term at $1 million a year, said John Holden, associate professor of business law and ethics at the Indiana University Kelley School of Business. But the Fever and the WNBA can't just go out and give these deals, even if that's what market value for Caitlin Clark's playing would be worth. There is, after all, the WNBA's collective bargaining agreement, which puts a cap on what a rookie can be paid. Clark's $76,535 salary. No matter how much Clark has affected her league and the popularity of women's basketball nationwide, no matter how much money she's racking up for a pro sport that for years was floundering, it's a cut and dry issue. Whether that will change in the future depends on if the wave of interest in the league sustains, rises, or drops off. Whether TV contracts can be renegotiated, whether a higher percentage of revenues can be directed toward players, and whether the capitalist market that pro sports exists in is willing to take a risk.